Smoky cocktails are very cool. I mean, at least aesthetically. But is it just show or is there more to it? Let's find out today. Stick around. Fellas, welcome back. It's Robert, your everyday gentleman. So maybe you've seen videos on social media, or maybe you've seen in person where cocktails are being smoked. In other words, being infused with some type of smoke from burning wood. Now this is supposed to alter the taste of the drink by infusing it with some of the flavors and aromas from the smoke. But does it really do anything other than just look cool? Well, I got myself a little smoker, so we're gonna try it out to see if it's all hype or if there's actually some substance to it. But before we start burning some wood, if this is your first time to this channel, I want to welcome you. If you're interested not only in cocktails, but also things like men's style, fragrances, fitness, grooming, whiskey, cigars, and other topics for the everyday man, then this might be the place for you. Consider subscribing and joining the growing EG family. And if you're already a member, I want to thank you for your continued support. And without further delay, let's start smoking this cocktail. Now there's different methods when it comes to smoking your drink. You can smoke the glass itself. I've seen people do that where they put the smoke into the glass before they put the cocktail into it. This method is supposed to have the smoke and the oils of the smoke stick to the walls of the glass, and then once you put the drink in there, then that's when you start getting those flavors and aromas. You can also do what I'm gonna do, which is put it directly into a mixing jar or a decant if you have that. And what that's gonna do is when you put the smoke in along with the cocktail and you start mixing that up, the smoke actually starts infusing directly with the cocktail, and it's supposed to give you stronger flavors and aromas from that smoke. Now there's also different types of woods that you can use. If you're familiar with smoking meat, then you know that there's certain woods that you can use to cook, like hickory, applewood, mesquite, but I would recommend avoiding certain types of wood like pine. Just like when you're smoking outside, those aren't woods that are going to give you good flavors, so you definitely want to avoid those when you're smoking a drink as well. And there's also different types of cocktails that you can smoke. Today we're going to do an old-fashioned just because 1, I like whiskey, 2, I like old fashions, and 3, I like smoky whiskey, so it's going to be a perfect mix. All right, we're going to start this off with our standard old-fashioned recipe. There will be a couple differences, and you'll see that as I continue with this process, but it's pretty much the same. You use your brown sugar. Of course, you're gonna need your Angostura bitters, and then I always like to add a little bit of sparkling water just to help the mix of the brown sugar and the bitters. Now one thing that I do a little different whenever I use a mixing glass is mash the sugar a little bit more than usual. What I find is otherwise it's going to sit inside that jar and not really pour into your glass, and I like having it in a glass. But then after that, you add your bourbon, whatever whiskey you choose. It doesn't have to be bourbon, but I like to use Four Roses. It's inexpensive and it tastes really good. And once you add it, you mix it up, get everything all mixed up together, and get ready for the smoke. Now the smoker kit comes with this plastic dish, flyer, whatever you want to call it, cover that will go onto your glass, mixing glass, whatever it is that you're going to use, and we'll set that to the side now. And what you're going to want to do is put a little bit of wood, whatever wood you're using. In this case, we're using hickory. I like the flavor notes that hickory gives. I think it'll complement the old-fashioned really nicely. And just put a bit in there that you're going to light on fire so that we can introduce that smoke into the cocktail. So you basically introduce the hose into the lid, turn on the fan, and what that's going to do is pull that fire into the wood, start burning the wood, and then send that through the hose into your glass. I want to get a good amount of smoke in there. And once we're done with that, you pull the hose out, and holding the lid securely, you're going to want to swirl around the liquid, and what that's going to do is start infusing the liquid, the cocktail, with the smoke, the flavors and the aromas of the smoke, so you can get that good flavor profile. Now I'm setting the smoke in the container off to the side. You can see it in the back there, I'm gonna let it sit for a couple of minutes, and in the meantime, I'm gonna get my garnishes ready. You can see I got my glass ready with my clear ice cube, which, by the way, if you haven't seen the clear ice tutorial, make sure to link that as well. Then you grab the mixing jar, remove the lid. You can see the smoke is still coming out there. You pour it over the ice. And this is where part of that show is. It looks really cool seeing that smoke along with the drink pour over the ice. And then we're going to finish this like we do every old fashioned. We're going to add some orange zest. This time I decided to try to light and warm up the orange peel here and hit it with a little bit of a flame, just again to add a little bit more of that show. It's supposed to add a little bit of smokiness, so let's see if that does anything. Not too bad for a rookie, if I do say so myself. You add your cherry, and your smoked old fashioned is ready to serve. Alright, so the drink is all ready, it's ready to go. So now is the moment of truth. Let's give this thing a taste and see if that smoke has changed any of the flavors. First off, I will say you get a strong smell of that smoke before you even take a drink from the old fashioned. It's very, very nice. I can definitely smell that in there. And the drink has honestly been sitting for a couple minutes already, so the smoke is gone, the smoke itself. So it really did infuse into the drink. And you definitely get the flavors of a regular old fashioned, but you do get a hint of that smoke. Now the way that I did it obviously was infusing it into the drink itself, so I'm not sure how it's going to be if you just smoke the glass before you pour the old fashioned in there, but this way definitely does infuse that smoke in there. You definitely get that flavor. So my opinion, it's not all hype. You do get some different flavors to it, and it's a very cool show. So I definitely recommend trying it out if you haven't done it already. This smoker is not anything high-end. It's a cheap little smoker that I picked up on Amazon. It's like 20 or 30 bucks. I'll put a link to it down below in case you want to check it out for yourself. It's definitely a cool little gadget to add to your bar if you want to, you know, dazzle your friends with a cool little bar trick. And like I said, it does alter the flavor a little bit, so if you're into that, you might enjoy it. Now, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you let me and YouTube know by hitting that like button. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and do all the things that help this channel continue to grow. We're approaching 2,000 subscribers, so I really want to thank you guys for the support that I've gotten so far, and anything you guys can do to help me get there would be much appreciated. And remember, being a gentleman is an everyday thing. Cheers, fellas.
We bop and hippity hop, I'm as happy as I can be.